the night before New Year's and all through the fucking projects. Not a handgun was silent, not even a tech. Outsiders were stuck by enemies who put fear and blasted on the spot before the pigs were dead. You know, hoods robbed.
That was the Jizza with Cold World. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for March 8th through March 15, 2021. A shooting on Thursday in a Hessville neighborhood of Hammond left a teen dead. According to reports, a shooting occurred around 7:30 p.m. near the 6400 block of Kennedy Avenue. The 15-year-old, identified as Jesus Castillo, was found with gunshot wounds by Lake County coroner's investigators around 3:40 a.m. Friday. He was reported dead around 4:25 a.m. No further information has been released on the exact cause of death. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Weber at 219-852-2967 or Detective Tharp at 219-852-2988. Throughout the week, the warmer weather saw an increase in area violence. On Wednesday, a 15-year-old was wounded in a shooting in Slag Valley near Sacred Heart. The teen was walking on the 9600 block of Exchange to his home when someone in a dark-colored vehicle got out. The person began firing shots, striking the teen in the hip and left leg. He was taken to Comer's Children's Hospital for treatment. No further information was reported on his condition. Anyone with information on Chicago crimes can file a report by calling 311 or leave an anonymous tip at cpdtip.com. On Thursday, a 20-year-old was wounded in a shooting on the east side. Around 3:25 p.m., the man was walking around 106th and Avenue F when someone began firing shots at him. He was struck in the foot and taken to Trinity Hospital. He was last reported in good condition. On Saturday, a 22-year-old was wounded in a shooting near the border of South Shore and South Chicago on the 7900 block of Marquette when someone began firing shots from a nearby second-floor apartment. The man walked to South Shore Hospital with gunshot wounds to the chest and the head. He was last reported in fair condition. On Saturday, around 1:30 a.m., a man was shot in South Shore. The 30-year-old man was walking on the 7900 block of South Coles when he heard shots and began feeling pain in the leg. The man said he did not see the shooter or know where the shots came from. He was driven to the University of Chicago Hospital by a friend, where he was last reported in fair condition. In another South Shore shooting, on Saturday, a 43-year-old man was wounded. The man was walking on the sidewalk on the 7600 block of South Kingston around 5:13 p.m. when he heard gunshots. The man felt pain on his forehead and suffered a graze wound. He was transported to South Shore Hospital and last reported in good condition. A robbery turned violent in South Shore on Sunday left 4 people wounded from gunfire. According to reports, around 2:40 p.m., a 25-year-old woman and 36-year-old man were in a Nissan Altima on the 2600 block of East 77th Street. A 13-year-old boy and a 20-year-old man were also walking nearby at the time. According to reports, a group of males approached the vehicle with a handgun and demanded money. The two threw cash out of the window and sped away. The males then began opening fire, striking both of them and the two walking nearby. The 25-year-old man was struck in the thigh and the woman suffered a graze wound to the head. They drove to Trinity Hospital where the man was reported in serious condition and the woman in good condition. The 13-year-old boy suffered a wound to his knee and was last reported at Comer Children's Hospital in good condition. The 20-year-old man was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center with a wound to his arm. No further information was given on his condition. In other local news, on Saturday, a car crashed in the Big Marsh Pond. According to reports, a Dodge Charger was pulled from the pond by the Chicago Police Marine Unit. The vehicle was not fully submerged, so the driver was able to get out safely. In other area news, the family of a 13-year-old child who was killed following a high-speed chase by police in northwest Indiana has settled a lawsuit. The $1.2 million lawsuit was filed against the Hammond and East Chicago police following a 2017 car crash resulting from the chase. On February 15, 2017, police were chasing 31-year-old Jessica Pichon from Danville, Illinois, after she stole a case of beer from an East Chicago supermarket. Police chased Pichon in a car driven by her boyfriend, 32-year-old Donnell Howard, Jr. of Highland. The pursuit ended when Howard crashed into another vehicle driven by Teresa Paramo, who was carrying her granddaughter, Juliana Chambers. The crash left Chambers seriously injured, and Chambers died from the crash. Howard is scheduled for resentencing on March 29th and Pichon on March 11th. This followed a ruling by the state that neither conceded the original plea agreement that resulted in each serving a 15-year sentence. In June of 2020, Hammond Police Department amended its pursuit policy. The Hammond Corporate Counsel, Kevin Smith, stated that the department did not admit fault, but realized it was appropriate to compensate them for their losses and the tragedy that occurred. The East Chicago Corporate Counsel spokesperson, Carla Morgan, stated, "This was a tragedy and the family has our sympathies." In national news, 2 men were arrested for an assault related to the death of a Capitol Police officer during what some refer to as a riot and others a coup attempt on January 6th in Washington, D.C. The 2 men arrested were 32-year-old Julian Eli Cater of Pennsylvania and 39-year-old George Pierre Tanios of West Virginia. The 2 allegedly assaulted Capitol Police officer Brian Sicknick and several others during the event. According to police, both worked together to strike officers in the face and sprayed them with an unidentified chemical agent. Medical examiners stated they found no evidence that Sicknick died from blunt force trauma from being struck by a fire extinguisher that some news outlets reported. No information has yet been released on the actual cause of his death. The 2 men have not been charged in Sicknick's death. In other national news, various news outlets were reporting throughout the week of state Republican legislators' efforts throughout the country to further restrict voting. According to reports, state lawmakers have been passing dozens of bills to purge voters from rolls, limit early and absentee voting, add voter ID requirements, and eliminate automatic and same-day voter registration. Reports suggest that the GOP has pushed the new measures following former President Donald Trump's claims of widespread voter fraud after his loss to current President Joe Biden. The GOP has stated they are passing these laws to prevent future fraud. However, critics claim their efforts are to disenfranchise poor and minority voters who tend to vote Democrat. According to reports, there have been over 250 restrictive bills introduced in 43 state legislatures. There has been no evidence, however, of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election. In local news, Southeast Side residents and firefighters have launched a petition for the return of a tower ladder to a South Chicago fire station. Tower 34 was housed at the fire station located at 7974 South Chicago Avenue. The fire department made a decision earlier in the year to relocate the tower to the department's new $30 million fire station in West Pullman. The tower provides a platform to hold firefighters and retrieve people while offering an elevated water stream and easy transportation of equipment to rooftops. Residents fear that the high-density high-rises and industry in the area versus in West Pullman will lead to slower response times and put more residents at risk. Fire Department spokesman Larry Langford said they opted not to purchase a new tower for the Pullman location and that the location of the site near I-57 and I-94 allowed for a greater spread of existing towers. Firefighters with Engine Company 72 in South Chicago say they welcome a new tower on the southeast side, but it could have been done without removing the tower in South Chicago. Residents have created a petition to return the tower and can be found at the link at the bottom. In other local news, Dalius Jones took one step closer to becoming Calumet City's first black mayor. Jones, who won the Democratic primary in February 2021, had his win contested following a November 2020 referendum that attempted to block any currently elected Illinois officials from seeking the mayorship. Jones filed his nomination papers before the referendum was certified. Following several court cases, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that Jones' filing before the certification allowed his name to appear on a February ballot. It is unclear, however, if the results extend to the April 6 general election, where Jones is expected to run uncontested. Jones' primary victory follows a number of other suburban incumbent losses. In Linwood, trustee Jada Curry defeated 16-year incumbent Eugene Williams, and Tiffany Hinyard won against incumbent Riley Rogers in Dalton. And finally, groundbreaking is expected to begin on the Barack Obama Presidential Center later this year in Jackson Park. The Obama Foundation is pushing to hire 35% of the workforce from Chicago's south and west sides. This includes the various areas of Chicago's southeast side. The foundation is aiming to train 400 new apprentices from the south and west sides, including providing financial support that includes childcare, tool costs, union fees, and other expenses. Anyone interested in applying can follow the link obama.org/OPC-jobs. And that ends our weekly review for March 8th through March 15th, 2021. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.
No time to freeze, undercovers ease up and grand freeze and seize packages and pockets.